Rothbard, who buried the 8-meter late in the second half to knot the score at 7. That was followed by a free position score by number 14, senior Kobe Richardson, to end it. Tremendous goaltending by Willa Rath and a full team effort resulted in pandemonium at CDM as the Sailors had won their second in a row. In 2019, the scene shifted once again back to Davidson Field, where it was standouts like Delaney Knipp, Miller, Palmquist, Kenny, Gritzmacher, and Reese Vickers and Rothbard as the Sailors cruise 16-5. Which brings us to the present. CDM's on a roll, led by the Grace sisters, seen here, with a brilliant assist from Belle to Sister Abby. The Sailors got a big win last Saturday against Jay Serra as Rothbard put it away in the second half. The Sea Queens are looking to reverse some history with the first win in a couple of years. The Sailors are looking to repeat. Stick with us all night. It's the Battle of the Bay. Girls Lacrosse. Number 7, Caroline Close. Number 9, senior Willa Rath. Number 10, Maria Drayton. Number 11, Kirsten Odom. Number 12, junior captain Olivia Gritzmacher. Number 13, Kat Meow McCrory. Number 14, Claire Abraham. Number 15, Tiana Hell. Number 16, Sydney Anderson. Number 17, freshman Lucy Tui. Number 18, Sophia LeClaire. Number 19, Audrey Sharp. Number 20, she's a freshman, she's Brooklyn Bedford. Number 21, Maddie Mahoney. Number 22, Sydney Hill. Number 23, Lily Serrero. And in goal, sophomore, number 8, Lucy Valdez.
Believe the hype, it is Battle of the Bay 2021 here at Davidson Field, Newport Harbor High School. It's a beautiful night for lacrosse, blue skies as far as the eye can see, a few wisps of clouds, and the lights are on. Soon the sun will go down, and all we'll have are the lights at Davidson. For this installment of the classic battle between Newport Harbor and Corona Del Mar. My name is Matt Armstrong. I'll be with you tonight along with Jeff Rothbard. Jeff, what are you thinking about this game as we go into it?
Couldn't be more excited, Matt. Just happy to have a big game here. We expect a nice crowd from both communities to come out and support their teams. And I think everyone's just really excited to be able to play lacrosse, make it through the season, Matt, and sort of start to get back to normal. Now, the Sea Queens, CDM comes in with an 11-0 record, Matt. They have been very, very hot, as you can tell. They've not lost a game yet. And Newport comes in at 8-4. They got a big win against a ranked team finally last weekend against J. Sarah, and a big win on Tuesday night here against Martin Luther King. But this will be a test for both teams, I think, and we're just excited to see how they both come out.
Yeah, it really is a tale of two seasons here. The Sea Queens undefeated, but certainly playing the less intense schedule. The Newport Harbor Sailors with a few losses, but playing the Division I opponents. Newport Harbor fell out of the top 10 of the Orange County top, Division I rankings, where CDM is number 1 in the Division II. So you can expect a pretty hard-fought battle here. They're both high-powered offensive teams, too. I expect a lot of scoring, a lot of rallies probably back and forth. Yeah, and I would say, when you talk about the divisions for CIF Southern Section, we can put that aside for this game. And interesting, Matt, we were looking at the score, the common opponents this year. Both CDM and the Sailors have a 4-0 record against 4 teams that they've both played. And the goal differential in all of those games was very similar. CDM handled Trabuco Hills very, very nicely. They both put up. I'm looking at the schedule here. I don't recall actually all of the common opponents, but I know that there's been 4, and they actually have been very closely aligned, the scores on both of them. So, we're looking for a real hard match here. They both played Beckman, I believe. They both handed Beckman losses early in the season. We saw Corona Del Mar against Beckman winning 13-5, where for the Newport Harbor Sailors, they won 18-5. So it's not like those last 3 goals are, marks of a much better team, but that score differential suggests a certain sort of that's right. Parity between these two. Yeah, once you get up over a 7 or 8 goal, win, you never really know, what may have happened there at the end. So we're just looking for both teams to come out strong and have a great game here. We're still doing stick checks down there, so we'll be a moment here as Newport gets ready for their cheer. As I spoke with both coaches today, I was struck by some similarities and some differences in the way they characterize their team. Certainly both of them are very proud of their players. These girls have a lot on their shoulders, many of them multiple sport athletes, right. All of them trying to come back from this pandemic and try to reestablish normal life. And so the coaching playbook kind of goes out the window. Jess Murray, the CDM coach, who I know as sweet as could be off the field, biggest smile, great hugger, But if you're competing against her, she is ruthless, and she's one of the more competitive coaches I've worked against. When I talked to her, she had a very laissez-faire attitude about how she's running her team, kind of letting the girls determine the pace of things, and they're sort of stepping up to the plate. I asked her about stats, and she said, you know, the only stat she tracks is team turnovers. She didn't really have any bead on her players' individual stats. We, of course, have them here. We'll share them with you through the game. On the other side, sounds like we're going to get one more cheer here for Newport Harbor. When I spoke with Brooke Martini,
there's a lot going on here, Matt, tonight. We have a lot of excitement going on. We've got music, we've got announcements.
Some girls lacrosse action in the Sunset League, mind you. In the cage tonight for Corona Del Mar, number 70, Ellie Spots. In the cage tonight for Newport Harbor, number 8, Lucy Valdez. On the face-off for Newport Harbor, number 4, Joelle Rothbard. On the face-off for Corona Del Mar, number 22, Amanda Cord.
So we have Rothbard for Newport Harbor in the draw circle with Amanda Cord, number 22 for CDM. The ball has been set. The official backs up, whistle blows, and the game is on. Both players going for the tall ball, both missing it. But the
Caroline Close there.
Caroline Close for the draw control for Newport Harbor, and she draws the foul. Brooke Martini brought Caroline Close up from defense into midfield and told me today that she's really good at scooping up those ground balls on the draw circle, and there we see it in action as the Newport Harbor team sets up their offense, works the ball across the top into the stick of Rowdy Farmer, top left, and then back to Joelle Rothbard, top center, and then to this side, the near side, top right. Gritzmacher, they switch positions. Gritzmacher now top left, that is from the goalie's vantage point. Quick little feed to Joelle Rothbard. Nice shot off the nice cut.
Number 4, Joelle Rothbard.
Looks like the goalie might have gotten a piece of that.
Like she got a piece,
pretty nice save on a really tough shot. You don't want to see Joelle Rothbard running through the 8-meter free on the feed like that. So way to step up there for the CDM goalie, Eleanor Spots.
Eleanor Spots having a great start to the season. Less than 5 goals against average.
And there it is on a really nice high-pressure feed there. Gritzmacher feeding Joelle Rothbard, who was cutting into traffic, catches it in traffic, and managed to get past. Took a little bit of a hit on the arm as she made the shot past goalie Eleanor Spots, and that is first blood, Newport Harbor, 1-0 at the 23:47 mark of the first half.
Yeah, and you know, Matt, I think as we mentioned on our last telecast against St. Margaret's, the Sailors have been slow to get off to quick starts this year. So I know Coach Martini has really urged them to focus, win the draw, and get down and score and take a lead and see if that can put some pressure on CDM, who's had a lot of big wins this year and maybe hasn't played from behind too much.
Indeed. And it looks like Harbor might get that ground ball. There it is. Joelle Rothbard on the second try gets the ground ball and the draw control, moves it up the field to Kirsten Odom, attacker, the senior attacker. And looks like they're sort of just organizing their offense now. Olivia Gritzmacher, top center with the ball as she moves to the top left. Looks like Newport Harbor's going to cycle their offense a little bit. Interesting little inversion here, bringing Gritzmacher and Joelle Rothbard behind with Rowdy Farmer. They're 3 highest scorers, and they're going to play a little 3-girl game on the crease. This ought to be fun to watch if they can establish this. Of course, CDM, they're able to defend it well, and some very strong defense there from Kate Kittleson for CDM, earning the turnover, getting the ground ball, drawing the foul, and now it looks like CDM will get the successful clear under pressure. But that is going to be Belle Grace all the way up the field. Belle Grace, one of the Grace sisters, both of them the highest, together the 2 highest power players on the CDM team. And now we are top right, ball with Lee Saman, bringing it now top left and to the left side in the stick of Frankie Garcia on the left. She moves it behind And we're looking at Kate Sullivan back left there, moving it to the back right. Tough to see that number on the far side. We'll get it to you as soon as we can, though. She makes a nice little run through some traffic on the crease roll and ditches it, and that's going to be Shelby Gladman there. And now on the drive, getting past the defender.
Number 24, Belle Grace.
And that's from Belle Grace. Looked like they got a piece of her on that shot, but the foul goes against Newport Harbor. It looks like they're going to be taking this from the center. Nope, the first hash off to the goalie's left. There will be pressure from both sides, but you have to imagine Belle Grace will be strong to goal here. Nice low shot right at the ankles of goalie Lucy Valdez to tie the score at 1.
Goal scored by number 24, Belle Grace. A free position goal.
So we saw down at the other end a turnover as the Sailors got into their set play there. Something that they usually run pretty effectively, maybe just a little bit sloppy play down there by the Sailors. They turned it over. CDM was under some pressure on their transition, but they got the ball effectively down the field. Now what happened there on the shot before the penalty was that Belle Grace took a shot as she was fouled, and the ref decided that the foul actually affected the shot, which is why she got the penalty back. Back on the draw here, Joelle Rothbard. Go ahead, Matt.
And Rothbard grabs her right out of there. Looks like she might have a momentary advantage if she can get past the pressure, which she backs out of. Nice double team to slow the pressure by CDM, and now drawing the foul is Gritzmacher, working in the 12-meter area, yes.
Between the 8 and the 12, the ball will always come back to the 12 in high school lacrosse.
And I imagine she'll pull this back, set up the offense. As we all know, lacrosse, a game of possession, not unlike basketball, not unlike football, not unlike so many sports. The more you can have it in your offensive end and wear that defense down, the less they're wearing your defense down and in a threatening position to score. And Newport Harbor taking their time now, ball top right with Gritzmacher, moving it across to Rowdy Farmer, top left. Rowdy Farmer looking to drive, a little bit of motion from her teammates there on the figure 8 cut. And well defended by CDM, but they get the sticks tangled up and they're going to call an illegal check there. As a coach, I always hated those. The sport certainly favors the attacker. She sort of stick-handled into that pressure, but you can't get those sticks in there. Now Gritzmacher blasting past the crashing defenders.
That's a great save.
Almost gets a little funky bounce in, and Ellie Spots with right on top of it. And as you said, very nice save there for her. But
there's a turnover by...
That's going to be Caroline Close. On the botched clear, nice feed to Rothbard, and Rothbard off the crossbar.
Shot on goal number 5, Mary Jones. Ball will go to the Sea Queens.
And on the shot, the Sea Queens are closest on the way out. Really intense sequence there, and Newport Harbor not quite able to convert where I think we probably wanted them to.
Yeah, pretty chaotic there, Matt. I think Newport's won the first 3 draws. I know Coach Martini would like to see them having a bit of a lead, not tied here at 1, getting off to a good start. Great to win the draw, but executing and finishing the play equally important. So let's see what happens here with the goalie clear, being very patient, looking for a player to come in the open. Newport running kind of a between the restraining lines trap here, hoping that CDM will clear the ball and then make a bad pass, but that's a good catch there by Belle Grace.
And Newport had a good ride there. They forced the pass they wanted, the short pass in their zone. They're able to come and put the pressure on, and now looking like they're going to get the turnover.
That's Sophia Leclerc, I think, with the ball.
Yeah, Sophia Leclerc on the nice jump there. And you see the pressure from Newport Harbor forcing the pass in the backfield in the defensive zone of CDM, and they're able to then jump in the midfield. And now it looks like maybe another turnover, but no, Caroline Close once again there to scoop up the garbage. That's the 3rd ground ball I've seen from her today. And a little check from behind there. Nice play by CDM. Turnover, and now running up the field, we have Megan Schaefer. She's going to clear it all the way herself. She's defended by Kaylee Russell, so I'm going to imagine that she's not going to want to go up against Russell. She draws the foul, though. Ball now top center. Grace sisters working it.
A little sloppy start by both teams here. Maybe a little jittery, big game, maybe a little nerves, clutching the stick maybe a little bit too tight, but let's see if they can settle into their play now.
And on the drive, well defended, nice little crash. It looks like a couple checks in there, but the refs let him play. Ball popped out, and now, the dropped ball. Little field hockey move there. One thing that the Newport Harbor girls lacrosse team has always been famous for is their little taps on the ground. A lot of the girls come over from field hockey, and that's sort of their natural move. On the restart here, we have Catherine McCrory. Back to Rothbard. Rothbard scanning the field as she crosses her own restraining line, going up against Frankie Garcia, who's given her the business through the middle, but she's able to get free a little bit, still looking for the pass. No one quite open. A lot of ball watching right now, not a lot of Newport Harbor players getting open, but now we see a few opening up, and if we can look upfield, we'll see them. We have Kirsten Odom there drawing the foul and then doing the quick restart, and she's still under the same pressure. And we're going to get the check in the sphere there. Ball will come back to Odom. She could probably step over the line here. And she goes backwards. A little bit of field awareness there, and this is one of those things that happens when you have the young athletes. They don't see the restraining line or the quick thing there and lose the ball. But again, on the turnover, Jeff, as you said it, both teams playing a little sloppy. Now the errant pass. But there to scoop up the garbage there, Sophia Leclerc looking to feed, little fake, brings the ball behind, looking on the slow break, no cutters, and I imagine they will set up their offense. We see the Newport Harbor coaches giving the sign to settle it down.
Yeah, definitely chaotic out there for the first 8.5 minutes of the game. Both teams coming away with one goal. Newport's definitely got the edge there. I don't have the stats in front of me in shots on goal. Ellie Spots has made a couple of very nice saves. I want to say Newport's hit the post twice already, and looks like Coach Martini and Coach Cook down there want them to slow it down and get a good play here, good possession, and a good shot on goal, Matt.
Indeed. Certainly not the game you want to be bringing your little sister to for an exhibition. But as you said, I'm sure the teams will settle in and the game will get a little bit tighter.
So we got a delayed foul there as the ref held up his yellow flag as Gritzmacher was dodging inside of the 8, so she'll have a free position. Good hash there, right there in the center. From
the center hash, Gritzmacher's usually going to get a pretty good shot off. She gets past her defender. She has that quick step, and there it is, shooting low, scoring just as Grace did against her team a few moments ago.
Scored for number 12, Olivia Gritzmacher. Reposition goal.
For Gritzmacher, that's going to be her 48th goal. Came in tonight with 47, also has an assist tonight, bringing her season total to 26.
Once again, that was a Newport Harbor Sailors goal, scored by number 12, Olivia Gritzmacher.
Score 2-1 here with 15 minutes and 37 seconds left in the half. We're back at the draw circle.
Looks like our same crew drawing here. We have Rothbard going up against Amanda Cord, and Caroline Close just ruling the draw circle tonight.
Yeah, that's her at least her second, maybe her third draw control.
On the season, Close with 31 ground balls. That's 2.6 per game. That's going to be usually the sign of a gritty defender, someone who can really make a difference out there. Stick goes down, and they're going to call timeout.
Yellow card assessed to Newport Harbor.
We have a yellow card now against Rothbard. Not too sure why.
So 15 minutes and 5 seconds was the time of the.
They tried the quick restart on the yellow card, which is not the rule.
So we've got a.
So they're going to go back. They're going to call the.
We've got a false start.
Yeah, the false start. It's going to go back to Newport Harbor, and they're going to probably look to kill 2 minutes on this thing. They have until 13:03. Man down, or woman down, we should say.
Yeah, so that's, I think, in the excitement of getting an opportunity to go man up there.
And nice little check, scooped it right out of her stick there. Strong defense. Looks like that's Kate Kittleson. Or no, that's going to be Belle Grace. Belle Grace going up, making the clear solo. Great little like check there. I don't know if that ball even hit the ground. I wonder if she just scooped it right out of her cross.
It may have just popped right up to her, and
we were shielded on the play, but it was a nice little turnover. And now Abby Grace working with her sister, and probably an odd unforced error. If you look at the shadows out there, you're wondering if maybe this ball got caught in the setting sun as it went to Belle Grace. And now driving, we see Frankie Garcia. Ball goes down, well defended by Newport Harbor. Newport Harbor certainly playing aggressive defense, sliding early, crashing hard, making life miserable for the Sea Queens, and not drawing the same fouls that we're seeing on the other end. If you're a Newport Harbor fan, clean lacrosse. If you're a CDM fan, terrible officiating. And leaving her alone on the crease there, Shelby Glavin just takes it, marches to the goal, floats it in high over Lucy Valdez.
So it must have been a defensive breakdown there. I didn't quite see what happened, but when you're man down on a penalty, you're out there with 6 defenders plus your goalie.
Corona Del Mar goal scored by number 60, Shelby Glavin.
And the attackers are 7.
Everybody, I will be cutting out every now and then due to the power of technology.
It looked like the slide came across the crease from that low defensive position, leaving Glabman just open there in the back right. She saw that the path to the goal. She made the cut like any good lacrosse player would. Quick pass, quick catch, and she was right on top of the crease for the dunk.
That's right. It looks like they've got about at least 40 seconds left to kill here, so this becomes an equally important draw, just as they all are, but this one's very important.
And Gritzmacher on the draw with Joelle in the box, and it looks like if Grace can pick it up, Grace, she's going to get a nice little advantage here. She moves it down to Elise Seaman. They back it out, and now the ball with Frankie Garcia, top left. Aggressive defense from Kaylee Russell. Love aggressive defense, but you don't want to give up that foul right there necessarily. Very strong drive, defense a little too strong there, and they are going to put Frankie Garcia at the first hash on the left side. On the left.
Yeah. So with the clock running, Matt, this let's see what happens.
10
here.
more seconds on the man down, and there goes the goal. Second goal on this penalty.
Scored by number 15.
And I'm still unsure of exactly how Joelle Rothbard ended up in the box. Did you see what the call was on that?
I did not. We'll have to probably find out after the game, Matt.
We'll do the research.
I think what I saw was Olivia Gritzmacher was in a strange position down in the 8, and she tried to pass the ball. It looked like she was a little off balance maybe, and I'm not sure what happened there. I didn't see a foul. I'm not really sure what the ref saw.
It was an odd thing. After the play, I heard someone say, "We love you, Gritzy," for Olivia Gritzmacher, and I think it was Jess Murray, the CDM coach, saying that to her. Some bizarre stuff here at the Battle of the Bay 2021. With 13 minutes to go, teams even strength, CDM 3, home team Newport Harbor 2. CDM with control, settling into the offense. Kate Kittleson with the ball, and she dumps it off to Belle Grace. Belle Grace telegraphs the pass, and a really nice jump there by Catherine McCrory, reading the play, getting the ball down, and she earns the turnover after the foul. Looks like they're going to do not the quick restart, maybe waiting for the 4 meters, getting the ball into the stick of McCrory.
Yeah, I think they weren't sure who got fouled there.
Yeah. McCrory looking to go 1v1, make the clear herself. She sees the pass, and it goes up the field to Mary Jones. Mary Jones, the senior attacker, getting harassed.
Yeah, the ball.
You know, Kate Kittleson a couple times has really been putting that high pressure on. A couple times it's paid off for her. That time, Mary Jones are able to weather the storm, and Newport Harbor settling into their offense. Ball is now behind Kirsten Odom on the back right. Maybe looking to drive the crease, but pulls it out, moves it to the right side. Again to Mary Jones, top right now to Joelle Rothbard, over to Gritzmacher at the top center. Moving the ball to Farmer. Gritzmacher, Farmer, and Rothbard, the 3 top scorers for Newport Harbor, really running the midfield there. Joelle Rothbard driving hard, takes the body check. Both players go down, and we're going to get a timeout.
Yellow card assessed to Corona Del Mar.
It looks like a broken stick. I don't think that's a yellow card. Yeah, she broke her stick, That's when you know that you've thrown a hard check, is when the stick ends up a
Correction,
V shape.
not a yellow card.
Megan Schaefer laying the pipe, but it's going to be Rothbard on the line.
So she's down there in the first hash here.
Not much of an angle, but Rothbard is sneaky. She's good with that stick. We'll see if she can get to the cage. Beats the defenders, gets crashed, and they're going to get the check in the sphere and put her back on the line. When you have athletes like with like Belle Grace and Joelle Rothbard on your team, Olivia Grutzmacher, when they get on the line, going straight to goal is usually going to be the play. They can usually get that step on those opposing defenders. She drops the ball low.
There's another foul.
She brought the ball low and then brought it back up into the check. The check was an illegal check, probably a little bit too close to the body there, and she's going to be on that same hash again.
Same hash again.
Wonder if she can she's going to rip the shot this time. Not a bad shot, little sidearm flick. Good save by Ellie Spots, and Newport Harbor closer on the ball on the out of bounds, and they get to retain possession.
Ooh,
And Rowdy Farmer sees the gap and puts it away. Heads up Lacrosse by Rowdy Farmer. Looked like they were going to keep it settled, just pass it around. She saw past the cage, she got around her defender and beat the crash to bring the score to 3-3. 10:37 to go in the first half. As expected, both teams going back and forth. I'm curious to see if any team goes on a run.
yeah, it's been a really tight game here. Like I said, a little bit of jitters, maybe at the beginning of the game, and it's just started to heat up with the offenses starting to settle in. But Ellie Spots has probably she must have made 7 saves already. We'll have to check at halftime, but Newport's firing the ball from all different angles, and she's hanging in there tough.
For Rowdy Farmer, it's her 34th goal on the season. As I mentioned, one of the stronger Newport Harbor players. Draw control ultimately goes with Rothbard. She throws a nice fake, gets free, and almost the successful clear for Harbor. Well defended still. Hard ride by CDM. They do not want to give up that restraining line. Few checks, and Rothbard's going to fight through those. And looks like they're going to settle the offense here. No slow break opportunities, and so here it comes. Rothbard top left, back to Farmer top center. Few cuts through the middle. Caroline Kroos.
Yeah, they are defending ferociously. You got that right. They are not giving Newport any easy entrances into the attack zone.
And that's the style of lacrosse that I expect Jess Murray to be coaching. That very gritty, just like never give up, always fighting, always supporting your teammates. And you see it out there on the ride. Newport Harbor doing a good job to get the clear.
See Rothbard, what's an ISO here? Maybe back to Gritzmacher. Should be a shooting space.
That should be a shooting space violation, and I bet that's how they're playing that. Rothbard draws the double. Rothbard draws the double and then dumps it to Gritzmacher, who's then driving into the space with a bunch of players in between her and the goal. Probably should have been shooting space. She ends up on the line anyway. You see here the push from Amanda Cord. That's an advanced play there. Really nice save there on a good shot from Gritzmacher. Gritzmacher did get the step, and now another nice defensive turnover, or a nice defensive play there. That's going to be Olivia Sargent, who was able to get the ball away from Rowdy Farmer, who's usually pretty sure with the stick, and Rowdy Farmer does not. Rowdy Farmer chases her down, gives her a little chunk from behind, and the ref is going to give her the yellow card on that one. With 8:55 to go, it's going to be man down. Rowdy Farmer maybe with a little bit of a reputation there. We do have Brooke Martini, John at the coach, or John at the ref, and our ref Kevin is not hearing any of it. What he saw was probably dangerous to him. He wants to keep control of this game. He knows that Battle of the Bay is always going to be an intense one, and he's going to need to keep it under control. Little bit of an aggressive yellow card there, especially after the oddball yellow card earlier. Tough to be down 4 minutes in the half. And now the game still stopped as the coach, I bet that's now the official asking the coach to tell the fans to lay off. We have fans in the stands expressing their disapproval. as we say, cheer on the girls, and that's what you're here for as the fans. So hopefully those fans will take the message and support the team in that way.
Yeah, there's a lot of emotion and passion out here tonight, and I think that's starting to spill out over on the field and off the field.
As I once spoke to the father of a player I coached, John Nolte, who played out east, was a Duke All-American, and he said to me, "I get so invested." And that's the thing. Everyone's so invested. Everybody loves the girls. Everybody loves their teammates. Everybody loves the sport. And then it's Battle of the Bay, so it's just amped up that much more.
That's right. Exactly right.
Nice little cut. It was a really beautiful pass there going to Abby Grace, but also a pretty solid crash on the Newport Harbor
Whistle start,
side.
say.
And it looks like ball's going to go back to Newport Harbor.
There must have been a hold or an illegal pick down there. I'm not exactly sure what the call was, but it was in the...
Ooh, no, not a terrible pass. It was going to Catherine McCrory, but it was just looped up a little high. Really nice interception by the CDM player. That was Katie Sullivan on the interception, but then McCrory able to get it back. Good sportsmanship there from 56, Haley Peterson. Laid a little bit of a hit on McCrory and then helped her back up. Certainly don't want any bad blood. And now we have Newport Harbor looking to kill some time here. Looks like about a little over a minute left in the man down.
Smart play there by Rothbard. She was straddling the restraining line there, and Newport is man down, and they were very close to being offsides there, but Rothbard straddled the line and was able to stay on sides.
It's important to maintain
and
that possession.
Wide
like
open is Rothbard in front.
Oh, they're going to call the shooting space there. Sorry.
Yeah, no, that's okay, no. Matt. You know, sometimes when you're defending man up, you get a little bit over aggressive. Maybe what happened there is CDM was doubling, left Rothbard wide open. By the time she caught it, they jumped back into shooting space, and she'll have a free position here.
Rothbard now lining up, gets the step, well defended, but she's able to put it high off stick side into the corner. That's a shorthanded goal from Joelle Rothbard, her second of the night, to give her team the lead 4-3. Yeah, as you mentioned, when they're playing that man down, the defense knows they're not necessarily looking to score. They're not looking to penetrate. They're not looking to take chances. They push out stronger, and then those lanes open up for those strong players, and a good team will make you pay for it.
Yeah, which is exactly what looked like it happened there. It was right at the end of the penalty, as Rowdy Farmer came back on the field, making it even in terms of the number of players, and Rothbard was able to find some open space and get that shooting space violation and then put in the free position there.
Players are lined up for the draw. Ball is up. Caroline Close again on it, trying to play some field hockey. Doesn't quite get it out there, but
Gritzmacher's got a beat on it, yep.
Well defended by Katie Kittleson, who gets a little bit aggressive there and earns the foul. Now Rowdy Farmer taking a little bit of heat. Again, this CDM ride, I'm very impressed with it. Even when the Newport Harbor team is getting close to that restraining line, they're not giving up an inch. Looks like a timeout. Timeout being taken by Newport Harbor.
Newport Harbor.
So we have 6 minutes and 4 seconds left in the first half. It's been a very physical game by two teams that are very high scoring, so maybe more physical than we expected coming in. CDM is definitely not backing down. They are playing tough defense. They are playing very tough transition defense, Matt, which is what we were just noticing. When Newport gets possession in the middle part of the field, CDM is not given an inch. They are not allowing them to fast break, and Newport likes to fast break and move the ball, quickly. So they're going to have to figure that out.
Yeah, and I'm also seeing that the Newport Harbor team has been able to get their shots off from the settled offense. And so I'm wondering if the CDM coaches are telling them to try to really bring the game to the midfield, try to win the game there instead of giving the ground and letting them into the offensive end. As I spoke with Jess Murray about the game, she was talking a little bit about our team, how you know, having the Grace sisters on there, how special it is for them to play with each other. We have Belle Grace, the junior midfielder, and Abby Grace, the sophomore midfield, sometimes attacker. And that becomes somewhat of a metaphor for the team, like the girls are just sisters out there. She just told the players that their #1 goal is to have fun. And respect the process of what they're all going through. They know that it's this sort of weird truncated season. Yeah. Half the time you have players missing from practice, missing games because they have other sports. The CDM team with 7 players in other sports. We have Abby Grace, a water polo player.
And you know what happened with the CDM girls lacrosse program was always very strong. And 2 years ago, before the 2019 season, CIF decided to start placing the teams into, maybe it was before last season, 2020 season, placing them into divisions. CDM ended up in Division 2. I suspect that after the end of the season, after having a strong resurging program, they'll be back in Division 1 because they are beating Division 1 teams, and you can see they're hanging right here with the Sailor Girls tonight. So this is a strong program, and we expect, you know, them to continue growing.
And it's an up-and-coming program. Murray was telling me that, you know, in a pandemic year, you lose some of those seniors, you lose some of those girls who have been part of your team. And she said a lot of the young girls have been stepping up and just making the difference out there, supporting those marquee players. And
I believe that they also were able to field a JV team this year.
That's
so
great.
In the 2021, you know, not a lot of teams, or a lot of teams weren't able to field a JV team, as was the case here at Newport Harbor. And you know, a testament to the CDM, you know, program to get the girls, you know, out and have that second team for the growth process.
For sure. You need that JV team for the program, and those lower level teams were some of the first things to get lost in the pandemic, but now they'll be coming back, which is good to see. Now, Newport Harbor in the CDM zone again, 5:42 to go in the first. Nice little feed from Gritzmacher into the middle. Rowdy Farmer taking the check in the sphere. She's going to be put at the center hash.
Tough pass there by Gritzmacher. She really threaded the needle in there to Farmer. Looked like she was going to manage to catch it, but she got fouled.
And Farmer off the line, getting past the defender. Nice little field hockey goal. Dropping the stick low and shuffling it in hockey style.
Scored for number 3, Rowdy Farmer.
That's going to be Farmer's second of the evening, 35th of the season. She averages 3 goals a game, so.
That's a great goal. I think Newport, maybe in the timeout, has been talking about how to beat Ellie Spots, who, as we've said a couple times, has really come away with a lot of saves. So Rowdy Farmer there hung on to the ball. She dodged. She made the goalie move. She found the spot down low, and that's what you need to do.
Yeah, whenever you can change levels on the goalie, that makes it really tough to defend. And the ball is up again on the next draw. Really nice pickup there by Amanda Cord right out of the air off a strong Joelle Rothbard. Usually Rothbard is going to come up with those, but well played. And then getting a little bit too aggressive there going into the attacking zone. Went right into the teeth of Newport Harbor.
And look at
defense.
That swarm of Corona Del Mar defenders, Matt.
That was a 1v6 going through the midfield, and somehow Gritzmacher gets through. Newport Harbor bench goes wild. Be interesting to see her work the clock face here, but instead she goes to Rothbard, who puts it away. And that's the payoff to Gritzmacher right there.
Number 4, Joelle Rothbard.
That goal is going to go into the record books for Joelle Rothbard, but I'm sure Rothbard is going to dedicate that one to Gritzmacher, who picked it up at the Newport Harbor restraining line, worked it all the way through the midfield. Maradona style through a 1986 World Cup reference there if you're paying attention. Got through 6 players, worked it around behind, found Rothbard on the slow break, who was able to put it away. 6-3 now for Newport Harbor. They are on a 4-goal run, and if this is a game of runs, you can expect CDM now to try and claw back.
And that'll be the key for Newport here, is if they can manage to fight their way through this transition defense by CDM, they might find some mismatches in terms of numbers down low in the attacking zone. Because they're catching CDM off guard there.
And an unsettled defensive unit is a vulnerable defensive unit. And now, really nice scoop by Rothbard. She gets checked illegally, and the ball bounces off the head of Amanda Cord there. Looked like she was a little dazed for a moment, but Lacrosse girls are going to be tough. She's back into it. I see her chasing her down, and now Rothbard running free. Nice little fake, drops it low, gets checked in the arm. Stick goes down. Rothbard not feeling good. But Rothbard, like any other lacrosse player, also very tough. She shakes it off. She lines up at that.
She's
center
right
hash.
at the center hash. That's right.
See if she makes him pay for that hit, and she does the little spin move, and the ball is going to stay with Newport Harbor. Nice spin move. She ends up on the turf. Tough to keep your balance on a move like that.
Newport was closest. They'll retain possession here with 3:56 and counting in the first half.
Ball coming in the back with Mary Jones. Now on the right side with Gritzmacher. She's got Rowdy Farmer on her right. She dishes it to her. Rowdy, little short pass to Rothbard at the top. And if you're playing the coaching game here, the instruction of the team is burn a little time here.
Absolutely.
You know, you have all the momentum. You have no pressure on you right now. The only pressure is to protect that ball. Don't give it up. Don't settle for anything less than your best possible shot. We have Rothbard now driving, gets the shot, takes the hit. Belle Grace not having any of it. Well defended there and well driven.
Ball will stay with Newport Harbor.
That's two high-powered lacrosse players going at it. Rothbard took the tough end of it there. She might think twice again before she goes against
there's
Grace.
a lot of body contact going on out there. The refs are, I guess they're letting them play a little bit.
It's like in the 8-meter, CDM sticks have gotten a lot of calls, but outside of the 8-meter, not a lot of those sort of, they're sort of letting them body up and letting those fouls go.
Too much body there.
Too much
body there by number 49 for CDM. And
that's going to be Megan Schaefer.
Gritzmacher will be back on the center hash.
And Gritzmacher buries it. Gets that stick up there, comes straight up and down for the goal, hip side off stick.
Olivia Gritzmacher.
Yep. You know, the CDM girls are playing a pretty advanced technique there. The defensive player who's lining up adjacent to the free position shooter is getting a little push from her teammate. They line up there and like actually shove her to give her a little extra momentum.
Absolutely
going
illegal.
Into the, defense.
It's absolutely illegal play, and you can see that now Olivia Gritzmacher, probably the most effective of Newport's attackers and midfielders on the free position, and you can see there, even with that advanced push from the defenders, she's getting a step and she's right in on goalie.
Yeah, I feel like Gritzmacher gets that first step every time. Rothbard has a tendency to change levels with the stick a little bit more.
That's right.
And sort of deke around those defenders. And Rothbard on the nice draw control.
That's a great save there.
Really great lacrosse there. Rothbard to Gritzmacher, Gritzmacher to Farmer, Farmer point blank range.
What a spot for a big save too.
Spots, like makes the save, and yeah, that's a morale saving save. To be down 4 goals in lacrosse is not a big deal. Going down 5, there's something about that.
There's a nice play there
now,
by Claire Abraham.
It is Newport Harbor on the hard ride, earning the turnover and maybe getting a little bit too zealous. Is Claire Abraham looking to go to goal? Well defended there by Kate Kittleson, but she draws the foul. We have 1:49 to go in the half. She's on the hanging hash. I don't imagine she'll drive here, and she does not. And ball is now back left, goes down for a moment, but scooped up.
That was Sophia Leclerc there.
Leclerc, and now back to Rowdy Farmer. Farmer to Mary Jones. Mary Jones up to Gritzmacher. Gritzmacher to close. With 1:30 left, you wonder if they might play for the final shot. You see CDM sort of sneaking out on him, playing outside the 12-meter on that defense, and now sinking back in to defend the 8.
Yeah, they're going to force CDM to come out and get him here with a little bit over 1 minute and 10 seconds left.
Yeah,
And here
they're gonna
comes
send
number
the double
14 right
team.
now.
We have Kate Kittleson coming over, and now we have a little bit of a backer double team, little flip. Flip comes to Rothbard, well executed there. And she's gonna, little drive, little fake. Nice feed inside to Gritzmacher. Another great save by Ellie Spots. Shot sort of went at her body, but it wasn't just that she made the save. She made the save and controlled it. It's a tough one to control, and now Gritzmacher looking to get the ball back after the save. Harassing Spots, really tough when you're the goalie with that big stick to keep it away from those defenders.
Yeah,
and
for sure.
She's able to get away from a strong athlete in Gritzmacher. Looked like Gritzmacher maybe stepped off her for just a moment. She earned that space and was able to get the ball out of her stick.
Yeah, you know, the ref called a foul there. May have been better off to play on, as CDM had the advantage down the sideline, and with the two minutes or less, they've got to stop and set it up and do a whistle start. So CDM have the last shot here, Matt, with 23 seconds left in the half.
Yeah, they're going to be looking strong cut there, and now a strong drive into the defense. Defense crashing well, and a great save by Lucy. Little kick save, it looked like.
10 seconds left.
And now the ball is down, and Willa Rath on the pickup, and the ball goes up.
5
They're
seconds.
looking for the clear. 2-1, and the horn will blow.
Yeah.
You see Rowdy Farmer cursing the clock. And it's 7-3 Newport Harbor over CDM. And you can imagine that at this halftime, Jess Murray on the CDM side is going to be making some adjustments, and we're going to see a new team coming out that second half. And we'll see what Newport Harbor can do. Are they able to come out equally strong and match up against them?
Yeah, Matt, we've got a special video, I think, we played here at the beginning of the game. It's a tribute and a history of the Battle of the Bay. We're going to hit it again, and we'll be back with about 2 minutes before the second half starts with some stats and analysis for the second half. So enjoy the video, everybody. Thanks for tuning in. Welcome to the 2021 Girls Lacrosse Battle of the Bay between the CDM Sea Queens and the Newport Harbor Sailors. This rivalry dates back to 2008, and in the early years, it was CDM who dominated, with the sole loss coming to Newport in 2009. It was names like Jensen Coop, the Mulvaney sisters, goalie Ashley Olsen, who propelled the Sea Queens to 7 victories in a row until 2017, when the Sailors finally ended the Sea Queens spell with a 9-7 win at Peninsula Park. It was goals like this by Katie Hendricks that opened the scoring. Assists like this from Adina Rothbard to Sarah Farley, who finished it. And the Sailors walked away with a 9-7 win at the beach. In 2018, the scene shifted back to CDM, where it was newcomer freshman Joelle Rothbard who buried the 8-meter late in the second half to knot the score at 7. That was followed by a free position score by number 14, senior Kobe Richardson, to end it. Tremendous goaltending by Willa Rath, and a full team effort resulted in pandemonium at CDM as the Sailors had won their second in a row. In 2019, the scene shifted once again back to Davidson Field, where it was standouts like Delaney Knipp, Miller, Palmquist, Kenny, Gritzmacher, and Reese Vickers and Rothbard as the Sailors cruise 16-5. Which brings us to the present. CDM's on a roll, led by the Grace sisters, seen here, with a brilliant assist from Belle to Sister Abby. The Sailors got a big win last Saturday against J. Sarah as Rothbard put it away in the second half. The Sea Queens are looking to reverse some history with the first win in a couple of years. The Sailors are looking to repeat. Stick with us all night. It's the Battle of the Bay. Girls Lacrosse. By Frankie Garcia, Belle Grace, and Shelby Glabman. And as Matt and I have been commenting here for the first half, 7 saves by goalie Ellie Spots. So she's definitely keeping them in this game, trying to keep it close, 4-goal margin at this point. For the Sailors, Rothbard with 3, Rowdy Farmer with 2, and Gritzmacher with 2.
Gritzmacher also with 2 assists to add to those goals.
Yep, very important. They're feeding really well and getting her players the ball to put it in the back of the net. I think what we saw as well there, the stat on the draw control, Newport has won 8 of the 11 draws, and that's led to a lot of possession time. I'm sure that Coach Murray is trying to figure out what they can change about the draw to get some more draw wins for CDM, to get the ball in their hands a little bit more. And Newport's looking to keep doing what they're doing.
Yeah, I guarantee you that's exactly what Murray is talking to them about, getting those draw controls, and then when they do get it into that offensive end, protecting that ball, controlling it down there. Certainly Newport Harbor had control of the offensive end far more than the CDM Sea Queens did. So she's going to be looking to do that possession. You know, you mentioned the 7 saves by Ellie Spots, keeping her team right in this game, and none were bigger than that last one. And I have to say, something about keeping your team within 4 just feels different than when you get down by
5 or 6 goals. That's right.
You know, it's almost normal to come back from a 4-goal deficit. It seems a little more mountainous to come back when you have to score 5 just to tie up.
Lacrosse is a sport of streaks, and Newport needs to keep the heat up here right off of the opening draw. They can't allow CDM to get a sniff of a chance to get back in this game. They really got to keep the pressure up. I also would say with Ellie Spots' 7 big saves, great save there at the end of the half by Lucy Valdez.
Yes, indeed. And that should also be said. A 4-goal lead feels a lot better than the 3-goal lead, and the momentum going into that half.
Right.
You know, to go into the half just with having watched a goal go in can really kind of like bring your team down right when they're going to plan out that second half. Better to go into that with the positive mindset.
Agreed. Yeah, it looks like Coach Martini's talking to the refs down there. Newport got 2 yellow cards in the first half. I'm sure she's asking, about that.
On the draw for
And I'm a little
Newport
surprised
Harbor,
that there is not a CDM coach there.
right,
Usually,
usually.
whenever I saw any other coach talking to an official, I wanted to be there. I don't want the other coach telling him how to ref.
Yeah, I think Coach Martini's probably just telling him she'd like to see it called both ways here. But, I'm a referee, and I can tell you, Matt, it's a lot harder than it looks. There's a lot of rules in girls lacrosse, and the refs are out there to keep the game safe. They're doing the best they can. So
Yeah. And I think, you saw a lot more fouls against CDM, so you can't necessarily complain about that, but I think the yellow cards,
Yes.
both of them might have been a little bit spotty. Ball is up now to start the second half, and Rothbard in the
Scoops it
scrum
up.
is able to take it right sort of off the bounce in midair, in traffic, changing levels with the stick, gaining the CDM zone, and Newport Harbor goes to work. Top left with Olivia Gritzmacher, back to Rothbard on the left side. Sneaking out there is the CDM defense, not letting that adjacent pass go through, and now back center. We have the ball with
Sophia
Leclerc. Leclerc moving it back to the other side. Looks like that's Mary Jones. Jones back around the other side, through close to Farmer, back up to Gritzmacher, and here we are. Taking about a 30-second possession before anything happens, letting everybody touch the ball, letting them get settled in. Nice little cut coming from the far side there, but not going to hit that feed. Ooh, nice little stop and go cut
it's a nice pass
from
there, yeah.
Gritzmacher. I think that might have been just as much an acting job as anything else. Gritzmacher was jogging across the top of the 12 there, as if she was going to that stack on the far side, and then just stopped and showed her stick and had position for the inside, the front door cut.
And I want to say that the ref called a foul on CDM after the goal, which means it'll probably be Newport's ball to start. I believe that's what he called, and we'll see if that's the case.
There was certainly a call. I don't know exactly what the call was, but we're going to see Rothbard now with the ball.
Goal scored by Olivia Gritzmacher is good. After the play, Coronadale are fouled, and Newport Harbor will have the ball. No draw. And that's Gritzmacher's third goal of the game. She has a hat trick.
And if you heard that in the background there from the PA announcer, hat trick now for Gritzmacher. She just needs one more assist for the playmaker. And there she is with the ball, dancing around at the top against some decent defense, and now back to Rothbard. Rothbard looking like she might dump it off, but actually holds on to it, draws the
triple team there, yeah.
And a nice little cut coming across there. The Newport team muscling through. Yeah, looks like they're.
Okay, so what just happened here was an off-ball foul on CDM.
Yeah, we had
she was pushing.
Yeah, we had the players get tangled up on the cut, and then after the play, there was a little shove. As a defender, and I can say this as a defender myself, you never want to give up the cut. When you see them going in that direction, you want to step into that path and disrupt that cut. And sometimes, you get the little hip check in there.
Yeah.
And as they got tangled up, they were fighting each other off the ball. Either one of them certainly could have been called for a foul there. It's the after the play little push that I think ended up hurting Olivia Sargent there. And now
Shooting
Newport
space
Harbor
there.
looking to take advantage. Gritzmacher receiving the feed from behind from Joelle Rothbard. And yes, it is the shooting space violation, putting Gritzmacher on the second hash.
And let's see if she goes low corner here.
Oh, nice. Oh, unselfishly sees the cutter, sees the feed, makes the pass, but really well read and really well played by the CDM defense, who earns the turnover, almost loses it in the midfield, and then now they're coming back. Ball goes down, unforced error, but scooped back up by Belgrace. Belgrace now going backwards, hounded by Caroline Close. Close running with her, and now you see Newport Harbor really working the ride. They're not giving her an inch, and there's a nice check from behind. Perfect double team, and Caroline Close gets not only the turnover, but scoops the ball up and now moves it forward, earns the foul and the clear. Quick little restart. Ball gets to Gritzmacher, and now on the slow break, we see Joelle Rothbard. Now that is some pretty lacrosse, and that is the kind of goal that drives a dagger into the heart of your opponent. They are now up
Rothbard
9-3,
with the assist
6-goal
from
lead.
number 12,
And it's not just the point, it's not just the goal, it's the way the goal was scored.
Yeah, with some
gritty play in the midfield from Caroline Close. Nice 3 quick passes, and then when they're well defended, it looks like they're backing out. Rothbard streaks down the middle for the feed. Beautiful goal.
out Corona Del Mar.
Yeah, CDM's going to call a timeout there. So
Just a reminder to all Newport.
I wasn't
fans,
exactly
the next
sure,
game for the Sabres
Matt, what
is
happened there
Tuesday
on
at
the
Los
Gritzmacher
Alamitos.
free position. It looked like, I don't, sometimes, you know, when you're early into a penalty with a full 2 minutes, you might pull the ball out, spend some time. Usually, Gritzmacher would do that herself. So it looked like she saw something, maybe a little bit of an unequal situation in the center, you know, of the 8-meter area, and she was going to make a pass to one of her players who maybe had a better angle. And as you said, second time tonight, I think we've seen a really talented, skilled play by Belle Grace, somehow snagging the ball right out of a Newport stick.
Yeah, it was a really nice play. You know, you expect Gritzmacher to drive on that. She sees her teammate cutting into space right off the free position, and that's just good field awareness. You know, like that's the mark of a mature lacrosse player. But then even more mature, seeing the unexpected pass ahead of time.
Yeah.
You know, Belle Grace able to get her stick in there, and again just kind of come up with the ball in her stick. It's like a magician out there.
It was a big play, but you know, again, it looked like that may have been an opportunity for CDM to kill the penalty, take some time off the clock, maybe settle and get a good possession on the attack. But as CDM was doing in the first half, you're seeing the Sailors start to pressure now a little bit more in the middle of the field, causing some turnovers, which is getting them some real good looks on goal once they get the ball.
Yeah, that was a really well-executed double team in the midfield there. It's really tough to execute those in the middle of the field when a player can go any direction. And then you had Caroline Close with a really beautiful check. The stick was hanging. She was able to keep it away from the body. Pretty much a textbook check there, scooped it up. And then the rest was history.
Yeah. No, it was an aggressive check. You know, I'll give you that. It was a college-style check there. She came down hard on the ball, but as you said, Matt, you know, it was not dangerous because the CDM player was hanging her stick out there, and she was nowhere near the body when she checked her, which was a great execution by a very good defensive midfielder, Caroline Close, who's really starting to come into her own this season as a sophomore.
Yeah, for sure. Martini was telling me that she was originally playing defense, but the way she's able to just get involved in every play made it more natural to play that fourth midfield position. So you see her, you know, really playing more that defensive midfield with then Rowdy Farmer getting into the attacking zone to join the rest of her team. Oh, nice little.
There she is again.
Nice little play, and guess who has the ball? Caroline Close to Joelle Rothbard. Well read on the second pass. They were looking to feed. It looks like Claire Abraham down there, but CDM saw the pass coming, got the stick up there. Abraham now riding hard, and CDM with the successful clear moving into the Newport Harbor zone. And there are 22 minutes left, so 6 goals is not insurmountable, especially with a team that's as talented as CDM and that's coached as well as CDM. And so we'll see what they can do here with their first possession of the second half, 3.5 minutes in.
Feels like this half has been going on for longer than 3.5 minutes with some timeouts and some stopped whistles and plays.
And now I believe we have the release of the CDM penalty.
Okay, so we're going to have an offsides on CDM.
Offsides on Corona Del Mar.
Before the penalty was up, the Sea Queens had 7 defensive players in the or 7 attacking players in the zone, and were called for the offsides. And then Martini getting her crew fired up on the sidelines, cheering for the offsides, cheering for the turnover, and now well moved up the field by Newport Harbor. Newport Harbor playing with confidence right now, you know, seeming to sort of dance around, play real loose, having fun out there, and working the unsettled situation. And here, when it's not available, backing out, setting up their offense. Gritzmacher now top left with the ball, and she's going to walk out a little bit, give her team a rest. And the ball comes on the near side, on the left there, Claire Abraham.
Yeah, and on that transition by Newport in the midfield, as you could see, it was the tic-tac-toe passing that was able to moved the ball faster than CDM was able to defend, which is really what you want to see there if you're Newport. Not trying to carry the ball through 3 or 4 defenders, but moving the ball by passing it.
And it's, you know, it can be demoralizing when, you know, you're defending, and they always have a person open. And so if Newport Harbor can do that quick ball movement, it can really, you know, help them continue controlling the game. Rothbard was looking to feed. There were a few cutters. Nothing was there. She is not ready to force it. Mature player Rothbard is. Senior this year. Playing at San Diego State next year?
Going down Highway 5 to San Diego State. That's right.
And ball went from Gritzmacher to Rothbard, back to Gritzmacher, who works the clock face, back to Rothbard. A little pass across the face.
Oh!
Little pass across the face of the crease. Nice little cut there from Rowdy Farmer, but she was on the cover, I believe, or maybe the little push on the ground ball.
I think I think what they called there was an empty stick check,
yeah.
before she got pushed.
And Amanda Cord, it looks like, with the ball. I think that's Cord.
Number 22.
Yep. And she's going to be running through the double team, getting into the midfield, and we'll see what the ride looks like here. She definitely has players on her, but she has open space to get
here
to.
Comes Close
and now
again.
we have the double team with Close coming in. Yeah, you want to stay away from Close. And Close again on the ball, and CDM successfully makes the clear, looking now to settle their offense with the Newport Harbor defense well packed into the zone. And an unforced error becomes a turnover. Rowdy Farmer scoops up the garbage, gets past her defender, being chased by Megan Schaefer. Gets past her, nice little pass there to Mary Jones. Mary Jones burying the shot, well played in transition. Jones caught the ball under some pressure, was being harassed by her defender, switched hands, got it into the right hand, got it into the correct hand away from the defender, and put it past Elliot Spots. 10-3 now, Newport Harbor. Newport Harbor has not lost a game this season when they've scored double digits.
Yeah, that was a situation where there was a bit of an unforced error down on the attacking zone by CDM. The ball kicked out. Farmer scooped it up. She turned on the jets down the sideline, and she found Mary Jones open around the 20-yard line, and Mary Jones did the rest.
And I can tell you, you know, it's really tough, you know, when whether you're a coach on the bench or a fan in the stands or a teammate on the field, to see that unforced error after the really tough clear, all that hard work, you know, kind of goes for naught, and then the other team scores. It can be a real momentum killer.
Now look, Matt, there's a really interesting part of the game right here. So Newport won the draw again. Gritzmacher comes up with a draw. They start a fast break, and Newport is usually putting the pedal to the metal there. But I think that was a very mature play for them to slow it down. Mary Jones kicked it back out, and they're trying to get a good possession here. They don't want to just turn the ball over after doing all that work.
Exactly. It's a real blow to the team who might be running up the field, the players that are really working hard, and then you see that ball go down and go back the other way, and it's like, you know, all that work earns you a free sprint back, you know, 60 yards up the field.
So some pressure there, yeah.
A little pressure. The CDM team's coming out. They don't want the Newport Harbor team to start killing the clock here. They have a lot of ground to make up, but this becomes the catch-22, that you come out to defend and you leave that 8-meter area open, and shots like that happen, and it's going to be the goalie, Ellie Spots, who's closest to the shot. Newport Harbor not backing up. I didn't see the way the play developed, so I'm not sure where those...
There was a bit of a give and go there from Gritzmacher to Rothbard, who was in close and fired one wide.
I'm just wondering why we didn't have the backup.
Yeah.
You know, where were our... you know,
where the low attackers down there?
Yeah, exactly. But they must have been inverted or something. Like I say, I didn't see where they went. Now we have...
It happened so fast, I'm not sure really what happened there.
That's the sport. And
but another clear here for CDM.
If you blink, you miss it. And yeah, CDM looking to clear. It's the man-to-man defense, and it looks like Willa Rath was able to force the turnover on the errant pass, and now really nice save by Ellie Spots on Joelle Rothbard. You know, Rothbard can put the ball in the cage, so to have her making that save, especially after she gave up the especially after she gave up the turnover. Oh, and we have two body checks here against Olivia Sargent. She takes 2 shots for the team, and now they're looking to clear, still facing a lot of pressure from Newport Harbor. Newport Harbor with 11 girls behind the ball.
Ball's out again.
The ball is out again. The CDM team having a little bit of trouble with the stick skills.
Not sure what the
under
call
pressure.
was. A
And
little
now
push there on CDM. It'll be Newport ball, I think.
On the field is Newport Harbor ball.
So almost had a push there in that little scrum. Oh, and there's a little bit of a delay of the game there, but let's see. It'll be a self-start for Rowdy Farmer.
And Farmer starts moving the ball through the midfield, able to shake her defender, get the ball over into the
Hands of
CDM
Gritzmacher.
zone, and Gritzmacher has it. Gritzmacher now top center. Looks like a little stack of players on the right side. Joelle Rothbard with the ball, looking for cutters. Little switch of positions from the left to the right and back, and now the stack moves to that far side once again.
Newport.
We'll be looking for a couple cutters here.
Yep. In case you're wondering, that's not me. Okay? I'm not doing
And then Gritzmacher now at the top center. Ball, the clear of the right side. She's going to skip to that right side. Couple little cutters following behind her, well defended by CDM. She moves it now below the goal line extended. Rowdy Farmer back right. And she moves it to the right side.
A lot of moving parts there, but Newport's just trying to find a little hole and see if they can get through and get another goal here as the clock continues to tick here in the second half.
Working against CDM for sure. We're just past the 14:30 mark. And you see Newport Harbor running their offense, as I mentioned, well defended by CDM. CDM is seeing the plays develop and not letting anyone go free, as we've seen them do in the first half. And Newport Harbor, to their credit, playing patiently, not forcing the ball. And now we have Gritzmacher for the free position. She gets the step and buries the shot. That seems to be her bread and butter shot, getting that stick sort of straight up and down above her head, and then driving it down past the goalie's shins. That's going to be her 4th goal of the evening. And that's going to be her 51st of the season. You know, we were talking the common opponent game earlier, and you know, you always wonder, you know, how much that works. And I was looking at it at halftime. You have the
Once again, that was a Newport Harbor Sailors goal scored by number 12, Olivia Gritzmacher. Her 4th goal of the game.
Trabuco Hills,
Again,
Newport beat
before all
18-8.
hearing any
Trabuco Hills,
feedback, that is
CDM
not
beat
me. That is
18-9.
the technology
Yeah.
that's been going on.
Then you had the
I need
Beckman
mic
game that we were
whenever
talking
replay
about.
goes on.
Newport won 18-5, where CDM won 13-5. Santiago, Newport won 16-11, and CDM won 15-9. And Tesoro, Newport won 17-2, where CDM won 15-0. So very, very similar scores against common opponents, but here, Newport Harbor is starting to run away with it. If CDM wants a prayer of catching up here, they're really going to need to make a change, and fast. 13:30 to go. Newport Harbor up by 8 goals, 11-3. CDM has not been able to score in the second half, and a big part of that is they just really haven't had the ball, and the couple times that they have, you've seen those turnovers, sometimes forced by the Newport Harbor ride or defense, other times unforced,
Yep.
and now Caroline close with the ball.
I think even more importantly is that, you know, again, the draw control here the second half. Newport has controlled the draw and they're controlling the game.
So often it goes that way in this sport. The team that, if there's a dominance on the draw, that usually translates into dominance on the field.
Yeah, so Rothbard will be here on the 8-meter again here, that first hash. Let's see if she'll pull it out or if she'll try to go to net.
And she goes high stick side, and Spots is up to the task. We have Sargent now moving her way up the field. Gets past the defenders. It looks like she's going to try to get past Willa Rath, who's having none of it. Well cleared by Sargent. And now we have ball with Elise Saman. Moves it up to the top. Belle Grace. Belle Grace top center. And now the temptation is to hold it for a while, give your defense a rest, work your offense. But with the time that's left, they don't have the luxury of holding it more than about a minute here. And they're going to go straight to work here. Abby Grace looking to isolate the defensive team, crashing there, but into shooting space. I believe Willa Rath is
I think it's going to be Kat McCrory there,
oh,
who
yeah,
was
McCrory.
defending, one adjacent over and just slipped into the position and was just caught a little bit in shooting space.
So Abby Grace waiting for the whistle. She gets her step. And nice little check there, Willa Rath.
Shot on goal number
Yeah, that's a great play by Willa Rath, who got a piece of the ball.
The Willa Rath story is just an amazing one. I knew her more as an 8th grader playing goalie on a team that didn't have a goalie, and she just stepped up and did it. Played goalie all through her high school career, even up to the beginning of the season, but really just was not feeling it, and the team was not gelling defensively. Martini made the switch, bringing Lucy Valdez up from JV, a sophomore who just started playing in 8th grade, now seeing varsity action on Battle of the Bay. Moved Willa Rath into that defensive position, and she, as Brooke Martini said, has been the glue of that defense ever since. Whatever defensive problems they were having early in the season seemed to melt away once they had Willa Rath out there running the show.
Yeah, she's brought some energy out there to the field, and given equally importantly Lucy Valdez the opportunity to get some terrific reps in goal, and she's responded.
We have Frankie Garcia now drawing the foul on the strong drive. She certainly has some wheels on her. Took the bump in the 8-meter, but she's going to be on the far hash. See if she can get to the cage there. Again, well defended. We have not only the deflection off the good check from the defense on the free position, but then the goalie, Lucy Valdez, able to stay with the deflection and make the save, control it. They looked like they might get that clear, and the uncharacteristic drop from Willa Rath. Ball remains in the defensive end of the Newport Harbor Sailors with CDM. CDM moves the ball to the top. We have Belle Grace there calling out the offense. Moving the ball to the top right, defended by Willa Rath. Willa getting the check across the face there. Looked like Belle Grace did get a step on her, and she had to throw the wild check that puts Grace on the line. With 9:40 to go, this is a must score for Grace, and we do have the push coming from the Newport Harbor team. And
another
well
save there.
defended. We had Gritzmacher with the stick in there, who had been pushed by Joelle Rothbard, giving her the business, and then Valdez on the save, but it was the illegal check getting called, putting Belle Grace back on the line, center hash, and the ball on a nice shot. And this time, Grace goes low, and Valdez is up to the task. Those low saves are really hard to make. Ask any goalie, and here she is just making the save.
Ball's up for grabs there.
Sophomore goalie stepping up big time, keeping that ball out of the cage, working the shutout for the first 16 minutes of the second half. Looks like the ball is going to go back to Newport after the scrum.
So I'm not sure what happened. I think we had an equipment issue there, maybe a foul. Olivia Gritzmacher's goggles came off, so they had to stop play there for a second.
Ball's back with Lucy Valdez. Newport Harbor looking to make the clear, and it looks like Kaylee Russell's open in the middle, but didn't see it fast enough. I'm imagining that Valdez might not be that confident making the 30-yard pass right into the middle of the field there.
Yeah, here comes.
And now the pressure
That's a
comes
smart
to her,
play.
and just as you would coach a player to do, Rowdy Farmer, when her player came off her, just made her way back to the goalie, passed it up to Caroline Close. Close almost lost it, back to Farmer. Farmer to Gritzmacher. Gritzmacher burying the shot for the 12-3 lead.
Scored by number 12, Olivia Gritzmacher.
And that is a pretty brand of lacrosse there. Aside from a little bit of fumbling from Caroline Close in the midfield, that was a beautiful play. And even with the mishandling in the midfield, a player like Caroline Close is going to make up for it with a nice pass to follow.
Yeah, again, a little bit messy down there in the midfield. I thought
Once again, that was a Newport Harbor
CDM had a chance to get a possession. They had a couple of shots on the free position there, Newport defenders crashing hard, Matt, to make it difficult for CDM to get a clean shot off, and Lucy Valdez came up with a couple saves, and they eventually got the clear.
You know, Brooke Martini was talking to me a little bit about Lucy, said that, you know, she got in the goal as a sophomore, was kind of, you know, just working on saving the ball, but as she's gotten more and more comfortable, she's been more aggressive coming out after ground balls, coming out to intercept passes. And so I think she's just looking for this young goalie to build that confidence and really learn to handle the ball back there and be that 8th defensive player.
Yeah, I was having trouble seeing the ball there. It looked like it might scoot out of bounds, but it got nowhere close to the sideline there.
Sometimes the
glare up here is
tough,
a little bit tough.
And so we have Grace. Sorry, that is going to be
good
Frankie
defense by
Garcia,
Newport there.
Working the drive, and yeah, as you say, strong defense on the crash. Ball comes on the quick feed and the quick shot. I don't know if she got a save there, but definitely the goal post was her friend on the quick restart to Willa Rath.
And once
Willa
again,
Rath looking up to that's Rowdy Farmer trying to grab it from behind. It does end up in the Newport Harbor stick of Claire Abraham.
And Matt, let's just again, the ball's bouncing around there on the around the goal crease for Newport, and Caroline Close is just right there where she needs to be and snags it. So, you know, you can say that maybe you get lucky sometimes, but Caroline is in the right place at the right time, and she's executing her ground balls fantastically tonight.
Yeah, you're going to look at this score sheet and see Olivia Gritzmacher 4 goals, Joel Rothbard 3 goals, Rowdy Farmer 2 goals. But those goals are not coming without Caroline Close owning that midfield. You know,
she's working really hard and she's executing really well, and it's helping the team. And I think starting to see in the last couple of games here for Newport that 4th midfield rotation start to pay dividends as Close is one of their top, you know, ball handlers and got some good stick skills, and you want her on both sides of the field if you can afford it.
Yeah, and you know, you often put your best players at midfield so they can be on both ends of the field, but that gets tiring if you only have a handful of good ones. If you have that 4th, if you have that 5th, it can really make your team lethal. Rothbard on the drive, a little wide on the shot. Sailor is able to keep the ball. Ball's coming in back right, looks like with...
That's Claire Abraham, I believe.
Claire Abraham back there?
She's starting to get a little bit pressured here, as you would imagine.
Yeah.
CDM needs the ball back.
And a little aggressive on the check. Certainly a little bit of harassment back there, and we're going to probably see more of this from CDM with 5.5 to go. Playing for pride now. They don't want to let Newport just get away with any more and maybe scoop a few balls out of their zone and get a few late goals here.
Yeah, so 12-3 with 5 minutes and 18 seconds left. Newport looking to get a good possession, kill some more clock, maybe push this to a 10-goal lead where it will become a running clock. CDM looking to get the ball back here and see if they can close the gap a little bit. There's maybe a turnover there. No, Gritzmacher hauls it back in.
See Gritzmacher with the ball here. Martini was talking about how she's really come into her own as a leader this year. You know, she's a junior on a relatively young team, and you have her really stepping into a role that helps gel the girls on the field. Yeah,
and Gritzmacher is a very skilled player, and I don't have the stat in front of me, but I want to say she's about a 65% finisher with her shots. And you know, she scores a lot of goals, but she definitely executes her shots very well, as we've seen all night tonight, and her free positions as well.
Yeah, her goal scoring percentage is 64%, and there goes Joelle with another goal. Really nice little play there on the roll, and then putting it top shelf off stick side.
Yeah, I think that's a situation there where...
And now the Newport Harbor team feeling the victory coming on. Willa Rath doing a little dance back there. I asked Martini if there were any quirks on the team, and she said, you know, Willa Rothbard has great dance moves, and it sounds like she is the team quirk out there doing it. Keeping the team fired up, keeping them loose.
Keeping them loose. Now we're into running clock, Matt, here. So 3 minutes and 40 seconds left. Newport's looking to win this draw and see if they can finish this game off.
Oh. Caroline Close loses her footing, and the draw goes to Belgrace. Belgrace moves it down into the stick of Shelby Gladman. Gladman now brings it behind to X and back to the back right. And we have CDM settling it. Not a lot of activity in their offense right now. Looking maybe to isolate. Not likely against Willa Rath, but now we have Grace working it back to her sister, Addie Grace.
Nice pass there.
Good pass into the middle there. They get the shot. It goes wide, and CDM retains possession.
Looked like it may have been shooting space there, but maybe not. Maybe the angles were not such that a player came directly in front of the shooter.
I love watching Willa Rath's 1v1 defense on the drive. She gets real low. She gets that stick up. She just looks aggressive. One thing that the young players are taught is that defense is half posturing. Just look like you don't want to get driven on.
Yeah.
And a lot of the times you'll discourage it. Feed comes into the middle. Good crash by Newport Harbor, and CDM backs it out.
Just not a lot of space there, Matt, down there, in the critical scoring area for CDM to find an open player to get a shot off. But let's see how this possession continues to develop.
Yeah, you just don't see a lot of movement in their offensive set. When they start to drive, there's some off-ball movement, but not a whole lot of movement sort of setting up the play. The sorts of switches that gets the defense offline. Trying to force a shot there.
Yeah, Newport is just Newport's just not gonna give up a lot of 1v1 goals as they're coming with a second defender and they're trying to cut that off. But here's a free position here for CDM.
Nice save by Lucy Valdez. Minute and a half to go, keeps her team up by 10. Those big tall saves where she's jamming the stick out and the ball pops out. Those can look really good there.
Kaylee Russell working super hard there to come up with the ground ball. She got fouled. We're a minute and 9 seconds left. Joelle Rothbard bringing the ball up the sideline here, showing some wheels.
And the ball moves through the midfield with Rothbard. She tries to hit close. Ball
like
goes
Mary
down,
Jones
but
picks
it's
it up.
Be, in the Newport Harbor sticks with Mary Jones. She brings it up to Gritzmacher. 44 seconds to go. And it looks like they might wind down the clock here. Perhaps run one more play. It's one of those things, you don't want to rub salt in the wound. You don't want to, score when you don't need to. But you also, every team is out there playing. You don't give up just because you're about to win. A forced error there, well defended.
Yeah, and it's a good point, Matt. Last year was supposed to be the first year that in the Sunset League all the teams would play each other twice. That didn't happen as we had a shortened season, but it's going to happen this year, and these two teams are going to meet in 12 days over at CDM, and I'm sure CDM is going to be fired up.
And that is the game. Final score, Newport Harbor 13, CDM 3. The Newport Harbor Sailors delivering the first loss to the Sea Queens of their 2021 season.
Yeah, looks like at halftime we were 7-3, Matt, and Newport ended up shutting them out in the second half, and mostly attributed to a couple things, I would say. Draw control, and definitely, Newport stepping up in the defensive zone in that transition defense, causing lots of turnovers, and coming away with a big Battle of the Bay win. Yeah. Newport is gaining some momentum here. I expect CDM to bounce back. They're getting into league play also. They have a tough game coming up on Saturday at Edison. And Newport will be back on Tuesday up the 405 a bit at Los Al, which is always a tough game.
Yes.
Los Al, no matter what year they're having, they are always playing tough defense, and they always give us the Newport Harbor girls lacrosse team a tough game. So Newport's got to bear down a little bit. They'll have the day off tomorrow. They'll get back at it on Monday, and they'll be ready for their second Sunset League game on Tuesday night, and then they've got Edison here, Matt, on Thursday night, which should be a massive matchup, I would say.
Yeah, that'll be a pretty serious game out there. Also of note, CDM was up 3-2 partway through that first half, and Newport Harbor ends up winning 13-3 on 11 unanswered goals. Dominant performance by Newport Harbor. Good for them, and we'll see them back, as you say, 12 days from now.
Yeah, I think it looks like Newport escaped a couple of things tonight. Number one, they got a big win. Number two, they did get 2 yellow cards to 2 of their top goal scorers in the first half, which is always risky to keep them out there. But it's Battle of the Bay, and Rowdy Farber and Joel Rothbard kept their cool and were able to finish the game without getting assessed a second yellow, which is good. They'll be out there on Tuesday night.
For sure. Well, thank you for joining us here on the TarTV stream. This is Matt Armstrong.
Jeff Rothbard.
Signing off.
Take care.